folks, I'm Rupali, your host, and welcome back to Crime Hack. Sandy is captured by the gang of goons, and the gang leader is hell-bent on killing him soon, along with his brother. However, Sandy manages to escape and also warns Raj to stay away. He also finds out that the gang is using a cave somewhere, possibly as a hideout, and also that they are clearing debris in the tunnels to make an escape route. Raj and Sandy realize they are in danger, but still need to crack the mystery. They rack their brain over why Sandy alone was tailed from college, but not Raj, and a new suspect emerges. The new helper in the college cafeteria. The boys lay out a plan to trap him, and while Sandy stays home to rest, Raj goes to execute the plan. The trap doesn't seem to work though, but that evening, Raj is kidnapped. On the other hand, Sandy is restless at home and decides to investigate the separate case of men mounting security cameras in the city in the dead of the night. He tails one of the men to a jewellery shop and realizes that their attackers and the security cameramen are a part of the same gang. He immediately calls Raj to tell him what he found out, but the gang leader picks up the call and Sandy realizes that Raj has been captured. The gang leader forces him to talk to his father about misleading a task force on a case that the police are working on. And now, Nayak Brothers and the Mystery of the Catacombs Tunnels by Rupali Rajapathe Roti, Part 47. What case are you working on, Dad, for which a special task force has been created? Sandy asked. His father, ACP Nayak, hesitated, then replied, It's the temple theft case, son. Can you tell me something about it? Please? Sandy's tone was almost pleading, and his father realized how important it was for him to know the details of the case. He decided to reveal only those details that were already publicized through the newspapers. He began. The temple thefts started approximately 3 months ago, and the gang has struck once each month. 2 temples to date, and this is the 3rd month. They are like ghosts. Nobody knows where they come from, nobody knows where they go to, and nobody has any description of any of them whatsoever. That's because they throw chili powder in the eyes of anyone who can see them. And the most irritating thing this gang does is that they come prepared with a lot of nails, which they throw on their trail as soon as they sense that someone's following them. And the police van either meets with an accident or the policemen are left with clearing the road after them. The first strike happened in Kolhapur's temple, where all the goddess's jewellery was stolen. The modus operandi was to throw red chili powder in the priest's eyes and then tie him up. He couldn't see who attacked him. The attackers may or may not have been masked. The second temple robbed was in Alandi, where the silver palki was stolen. Alandi's palanquin? Sandy broke in. Isn't that too big to steal? Yes, it is, Mr. Nayak agreed. And nobody saw or heard anything at all. It may have been possible that the people around the temple were drugged in their sleep. Therefore, they couldn't hear anything. Sandy became numb. So, all this time we were dealing with actual criminals. Raj's shriek again echoed through Sandy's mind, this time almost paralyzing him. His father replied, I had suspected that when you had told me about your ambush a few days ago. But since you were not robbed, I discarded my suspicions. But now that we know who's involved, I can't stop working on it. Moreover, a lot of other people are also involved. Even if I stop, they are never going to stop. What? Sandy asked dreamily, as if he hadn't heard anything his father just said. Instantly, a lot of thoughts crowded in his mind, and he spoke distantly into the phone. Dad, I'll call you back. And even after hearing his father's protests, he kept the receiver down. Walking out of the shop, he saw a bench nearby. Taking a seat, he buried his face in his hands. If these are temple thieves, their style, chili powder and nails. Their next strike, day after tomorrow, that's Thursday. Where? Dagadu Shed Halwai Ganpati Mandir. Right. Sweet reward for Halwai. That's sweet shop owner. The historic tunnels. One end is at Shaniwar Wada, very close to the temple. The other end is in Kathraj, which is outskirts of the city. They will escape, vanish into thin air and emerge in the outskirts of the city. The security cameras to study patterns and police activities to devise a plan. Their stockpile either at the haunted mansion or at the cave. So Raj would be either at the haunted mansion or at the cave. But the mansion is under surveillance. So the cave. This house here is where they observe and make plans. Kind of an operation center. The jewellery shop, possibly where they sell the stolen lot. He felt an urge to barge into the house and demand the whereabouts of his brother. He sprang up energetically, but then shaking his head, he sat down again. Bad move. I'd be captured and killed as well. Should I tell Dad to arrest these guys here? Shaking his head again, he told himself, nah, that may enrage the boss further. And if Raj had even the slightest of chances, he will lose it. He thought about going home as he was directed. Then again shook his head. Shit, what would I tell Mom? Does she know about this? He shuddered. I can't face her with this news. Suddenly becoming irritated over all the doors closing in on him, he got up and shuffled his hair absent-mindedly. Where is that bloody cave? He started pacing the ground and felt his brain go numb. Sitting down again, he took a few deep breaths and said to himself, calm down, you idiot, and think. When nothing yielded, he decided to call his father again. Dad, Sandeep, don't you ever do that to me again, Mr. Nayak shouted into the mouthpiece. For what? Sandy was baffled. Disconnect the call like that. Oh, that. Okay. Sandy realized that his father would also be as anxious as he was, and how he must have felt when Sandy just kept down the phone. Sorry about that, but Dad, I need to speak with you. It's urgent and important. Can you please come here alone? On a second thought, he added, and in plain clothes, please. He gave directions to his whereabouts and disconnected the call. Resuming his seat on the bench, he waited. Soon his father arrived, in plain clothes of course, and took up a seat beside him. For a while they both sat silently watching the void in front of them. Then Sandy spoke up. I have information about the case you are working on, but please first hear me out completely. We will then discuss things over, decide upon the best plan, and then jump into action. Is that okay? He feared that his father would immediately call the city police for the arrests. His father nodded, and Sandy told him all that had happened in the past few days and his deduction a few minutes ago. He finished by saying, now, we know that the crooks are in that house and this shop. But what we have to decide is whether to barge in there, make the arrests, and try to get Raj's whereabouts out of them, or should we do something different? His father thought for a while. Slowly, he spoke up. You're right. Right now, we don't have much evidence against them. If we make these arrests now, we risk your brother's life. What's more, we won't be able to keep these hoodlums behind bars for long. But if we just wait till Thursday, we might catch them red-handed with the loot. Sandy gulped. But Dad, Raj may not have that much time left to live. Then turning to his father, he looked him in the eye and said, I have faced them. I know. Then turning away, he added, moreover, dying is not the only pain in the world. His father knew too well the meaning of this statement, and they both sat silently gritting their teeth. So friends, how do you like the story so far? We are soon coming up with Hindi and Marathi subtitles too. We have begun with episode 1 and slowly we are moving forward, so please be patient with us. I know I'm also slow in publishing other videos too. Sorry about that. What can I say? I'm feeling a bit shy to come on camera. And I'm also learning video editing skills so I could bring out a variety of content to you. That's why any help on Patreon will be highly appreciated. I hope you are enjoying this story so far. Forget about my narration skills, I'm new at that too. But don't worry, I will soon become the Amitabh Bachchan of story narration. Till then, please bear with me. We are also connecting with various experts to bring them onto our channel so our lovely audience could learn about real life threats and learn how to keep themselves safe. If you are an expert on crime, psychology, life skills, threat identification and containment, an NGO working for either criminals or victims, or if you yourself were victimized and learned and grew through the experience, then please connect with us. Until next time, keep safe, save others, raise others out of darkness. Namaskar.